Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Zombie878, bringing you a new tutorial. Today, we're going to be making a wave-based system, and a wave-based system where we can spawn multiple goblins for however many waves you want, and you can do anything you want with that. Make Call of Duty zombies, make any wave survival you want, but I'm going to focus on the Call of Duty zombies aspect of it. And let's go ahead and put our spawn point. Now that we have the map, let's just start on circuits, I guess. So what you need first is a respawn point. So let's just type in respawn and the respawn point should come up. Let's place it right here. So when we start the game, it will teleport us right here. We also need one for teleporting us at the end of the game. So let's just, I don't know, put that a little further back here. And we're going to change this to post game. Now that we got that set up, before we move forward, we're going to have to go into this room, go into the settings, and we're going to have to enable beta content. Otherwise, we will not be able to spawn enemies or use certain circuits. So we need beta content on. And now that we have beta content on, let's get a spawner gadget. And it doesn't matter what enemy you want to spawn, but just for this, I'm going to pick a goblin. Remember, this whole tutorial is going to tell you how to make it, but you can change a lot of these settings what you want in case you want to modify it yourself and have whatever enemies, whatever spawn times, anything. So let's just make that a goblin, elite melee goblin, and let's make his HP 150 so he's easy to kill. And let's move his speed down the this is a big platform, so I'll put it at 2. We don't want to see the health bar. We want it to engage in combat right away. And I'm just going to change the color to emerald so it looks more like a zombie. What I like to do is I like to go in here. You don't have to do this. There are other ways to do this. But I find it the easiest way to delete that and copy this up. And what that does is that makes it so besides this telling you when the all objects spawned, we're going to also hook this up to another all objects destroyed. So now both of those are going to output all objects are destroyed. So we're going to leave that alone for now. First, I want to set up some of the mechanics before we start this. So what you want is an int variable chip. So just type in int and it should be the second one. And we also need a addition chip. So just type in add and make sure to connect the input of the int variable to the output and the input of the add to the output of the variable. And we're going to change this to whatever you want your player's score to be and however many players. So if you're going to have, let's say, 4 players, yeah, let's say you're going to have 4 players, you want to copy this 4 times. So just go ahead and copy it like this. Make sure they're far apart from each other because we're definitely going to add some circuits in the middle of each of these. And we want all these to be different because if they're not all different, if we add one to this, it's going to add one to everything else. So we want all our int variable chips to say something different. So I'm just going to say P1 for player 1. This is going to be player 2, so P2. Make sure to hit submit, otherwise it's not going to change. P3. And this is going to be P4. This is going to be P4. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to get a get all players chip. And I'm just going to place it right here so it's out of the way. And we're also going to get a get element chip. Well, let's get element. And for however many players you got, we're going to copy this. So since we're going to have 4 players, we're going to copy this 3 times. So we have 4 of these. The first player is going to be index 0. So index 3 is not going to be, index 3 is going to be player 4. So 0 is going to be 1, 1 is going to be player 2, 2 is going to be player 3, and index 3 is going to be player 4. So if you're going to have 15 players, it's just going to be the number before. And now that we have this set up, we're going to connect all of these to get all players. And you see, since there's no one else in the room except me, it's only going to output my name on index 1. But this is going to output the names of player 2, 3, and 4. And now that we have our base set up for the circuit, now we're going to have it so since this is where it might change up a bit, I'll answer questions in the comments if you want to change it up a little bit. But since I'm doing a Call of Duty Zombies wave-based system, I'm going to go with the Call of Duty Zombies wave-based mechanics. And basically with Call of Duty Zombies, at the start of every Zombies game, it adds 500 points to your player's bank account, player's money. So I'm going to change each of these to 500. Don't worry about the 0 at the beginning. 0 is just going to disappear. And now I want to get a equals and if chip. I want an equals and if chip. So just type in EQ and equal should come right up. We're just going to place this right here and we need an if chip. And place it right next to the equals chip and copy that for each player. So we got 4 players, so we're going to have this 4 times. And basically what this is going to do is it's going to check if the player's in the game. So we're going to take this, which is my ID, and we're going to place this on both equals chip. And since they both have my name, this is going to be true. The same thing with player 2, player 3, and player 4. So this is going to check who is in the game and who isn't in the game. And if this says true, that means the player is in the game. If it says null or false, it means that there's no other player in the game. And we're also going to want to connect the actually we don't want to connect the else chip. What we want is we want a vent receiver. So just type in event. We should get the event receiver. And we're actually going to copy this 3 times. Also, if you don't have Circuit V2 beta content on, you're not going to see the on game start. So make sure you got that on. We're going to change all 4 of these event receivers to on game start. And when the game starts, we're going to connect each one of these to the if chip. And whenever the game starts and this is true or not true, it's going to add a 500 points to the player's account. Just make sure that you got your player 1 and 2, 3, and 4 connected to the chip that you're connecting to these. Just make sure it's alright. Sorry, I got a cough. Yeah, but make sure that if this is player 1, this is connected to player 1. Because if this isn't connected to player 1, and I got this connected to player 3, it's going to give player 3 500 points and not player 1. And that will be a problem, especially if there wasn't a third player in the game. So make sure if you connect player 1, 2, 3, and 4, make sure that it's on the right circuit path. And now that we have that connected, it's going to add 500 points when the game starts. I'm just going to show you that real quick. So I'm going to get a game rules chip. We're going to also mess with the settings a little bit in the game rules chip. You can have the name to whatever you want, but I'm just going to leave it blank. Manual start requirements, you can keep that at 1. You could have automatic on at 4 players if you want, but you don't have to. I like to turn notifications off. I like to turn the game start duration. I like to keep that at 10 and turn this to 0. Because the game end duration, when the game ends, that's how long it's going to take to start another game. Respawn on game starting over, join in progress on. We're going to have 1 team of 4 players. Team selection method doesn't matter, but I'll just change it to random. Team change is going to be off. We're not going to do nothing with player stats. Team outfits are off. Team radio, we're going to do nothing. Persist stats are going to do nothing. Now you can change the health to whatever you want, but I found 300 to be a good amount of health without getting Juggernog, which is a health upgrade. The auto heal, you can have this whatever you want, but I will have it 5. Gonna turn auto respawn off, but keep restore health on respawn on. To revive someone, you need to handshake them with, you need to handshake them for 5 seconds. And obviously, we're going to change the max and min health when revived to 300. We're also going to end the game when everyone gets down, and we're going to enable pickup equipment on revive. Turn friendly fire off, turn the player HUD on. Gonna turn this on so you get down teammate feedback. We're going to turn off the health bars for everybody. We're going to spawn in a pistol because that's what you would start with. I would go with a shovel, but since the shovel would break and I wouldn't be able to test out anything, I'm just going to change the main hand equipment type to a pistol. And make sure you got infinite reserve ammunition on. And there we go. There's our game rules chip. We're actually going to place this down here. And before I show you this, I need to add some subtitles. So go to your watch and just type in, oh gosh, wait a second. Okay, so we're going to type in subtitle, or just type in sub and it should be this. We're just going to place this up here. Either get another event receiver from the watch or just copy the ones you already have. We're going to update the subtitles 30 hertz a second. And now we have subtitles, but we don't have nothing there. We're going to change the duration to 1. We want a string format chip next. So just type in string and it should come up. And the format is what you want the line to say. So if I wanted the output, each wave, the player counts and everything, I would type in wave, semicolon, use the open squiggly brackets and put a 0. The numbers you put in are going to be what you put in the value. So 0 for the wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Player 1, it's going to be the next number, which is 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just do this for each one of your players. Okay, and now that you're done doing that, press done or just let go of your maker pen. And now when we connect this to the subtitles, it will show us this, but it shows the numbers. It's because we don't have enough values. So we need to add 4 more values for each player. And there we go. Now we won't see any numbers and it will just be blank. Now we need the toString. And place a toString right in between each of these. And we're going to connect the output of the int variable chip or your player. And we're going to place it on each one of these values. So obviously the wave has 1 value, so we're going to skip that value and we're just going to go to the second value. And now it shows us a 0 in player 1's position. Do this for each player and connect them to each value. And now when I start the game, it will show you that I will gain 500 points, but player 2, player 3, and player
Game
4
on!
will not get 500 points. And I also spawn with the pistol. Now that we have that settled,
Game over!
let's end the game. But since I got no reset chips or anything, I'm going to keep the 500 points, what you don't want. So we're going to copy one of these and place it over here, the event receiver chip. And we're going to put the event on game end. Now, I would say copy every one of these values you're about to make and place them right here so it resets to 0. But an easy way to reset it is just type in reset. Reset room chip should come up. And if you place this here, when your game ends, it's just going to reset the room. So it's just going to wipe everything clean. It's just going to give you a clean slate for the next game. Easy way just to reset everything and not have to connect everything to the game end chip just to make it 0. Now that we have that, let's make a point system where every time we kill an enemy, it gives each individual player points, not a points total for everybody, just an individual player point. So go ahead and copy the equals and if chip and copy all the int variables with the addition chip. You don't need the toString chip. And just bring this over here a little bit. Now we're going to copy another event receiver chip. This time the event receiver chip is going to have the event for AI dying. And we're going to connect the else chip. So what this is going to do is every time an AI dies, you don't need to connect the AI to anything. Anytime any AI dies, it's going to go into here. And it's going to check who killed the AI. So if player 1 killed the AI, obviously it's going to add points to player 1. But if player 1 didn't kill the AI, it's going to go to the else chip and check everyone else to see who did kill the AI. So just go ahead and connect the attacker to the equals chip. Doesn't matter if it's the top or the bottom. And I would say connect this to your equals chip, but you can't because it's not a combatant. So you need the to combatant chip. And we're going to place one of these for each player. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to connect each let's get element value to the player. So this is going to be player 1, player 2, player 3, and player 4. And now that we have that, connect player 1, just like with this one, player 1, player 2, player 3, and player 4. Make sure all your player 1 circuits are connected to your player 1 circuit. Otherwise, it will cause problems that you do not want to deal with. But they're going to be easy to find because obviously only one thing can add points to something. Now, whenever someone kills AI, it's going to check who killed the AI and add points. So we're going to make our point value, let's just say 75 for every goblin that you kill. I think that's a good number. Of course, you can change this to whatever you want. So we're going to change each of these to 75. We're going to keep the int. We're going to keep the int variables the same. So player 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it keeps the same amount of points. You see how each of these say 0 and they say 0 on the subtitles? And over here it says 75. This is what it's going to be afterwards. So the output is going to be the points you have, and the input's going to be what you're going to get after it goes into addition chip. So now that we have that, I'm going to make a nav mesh real quick so the AI can actually move around. So go into your settings, scroll down until you see AI and nav mesh. Bake a nav mesh and make sure you got it showing in the room so you can see where the AI can go and where it can't go. You can block out areas, you can make it ignore areas, you can do anything. As long as it has this purple overhit, the AI can run over it. So now that we got that, let's go ahead and put a test event right here. You don't need to do this. We're just going to do this so I can tell you. I mean, I'm just doing this so I can show you that it actually works. You get 75 for each kill. We're going to set up the wave system later. Now, if I start the game, obviously I got 500 points right now. So even if I start the game, it's going to give me 1,000 points. Just ignore that. Once we end the game, it's going to go back to 0 since we have it to reset the room every single time
Game on.
afterward. So now, if I get out the maker pen and I click on test event, it will spawn an AI. And if I kill the AI, it's going to give me 75 points, but no one else 75 points because I was the one who killed it. And now that I showed you
Game
that, I'm going
over.
to end the game. Everything goes back to 0. And the room resets. About the room reset chip, the reset room chip, don't worry if you didn't save it. I didn't save it just now. It's not going to go back to your previous save or the last save. It's just going to reset everything in the room. So you don't need to worry about that. So now that we have that, let's make our wave-based system. Finally, now that we got all our mechanics. So we're going to copy the int variable. Just going to place it right here. And we're going to change the int variable chip to wave submit. Each time the wave goes up, it's going to add 1 to the wave count. And just like the rest of these, we're going to add a toString value over here and connect it to the wave value. So now it shows us the wave count. Now, what I like to do is I like to place a delayed chip. So each wave is delayed by however long you want. I delay it by 5 seconds because it will give people some breathing room after each wave, some time to do some things. But you can make it as long as you want. But I'm just going to make it 5 seconds. And you want to connect the after delay to the wave chip. And how we're going to start this is obviously the event receiver for game start. So since there's always going to be a player one in the game, we're just going to take this, which is a one-time value. This is only going to activate one time at the start of the game. We're going to connect it right here. We're just not going to copy this again so we can not copy 50 million game start chips. And now when the game starts, it's going to add 1 to our wave count, and we're going to see it on our subtitles. But the enemy is not going to spawn unless we take the event receiver and we do this on wave change, put the event on wave change. So every time the wave changes, the AI is going to spawn. And the reason that I placed the object destroyed here is so I have two object destroyed. So one is going to go directly right here. Every time you kill the AI, it's going to spawn again. And the reason we have the other one is, well, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you later. But right now we have it so whenever the wave changes after 5 seconds, it's going to spawn the enemy, and every time you kill the enemy, it's going to spawn another enemy. Now, what we want to do is we want to copy the equals and if chips again. We're going to place it right here, right next to it. We're also going to copy the equals and if chips again. And make sure that the else chips are the else is disconnected for the second set. But the first set we need the else connected to the other chip. So connect these to then make sure that it's going across directly to the next one. And we're just going to copy another one. So I'll tell you why we're copying all these. We're going to make this our wave count. So if it is wave 1, it's going to equal this, and this is going to be true. The same thing with this, wave 2, 3, and etc. You gotta do this for every single wave, and I will tell you after we're done with this. So now that we have this set up for 5 waves, I would do more, but it takes quite a while to do that. And now that we have this set up, if the game starts and this goes to wave 1, this is going to be true and the rest of these are going to be false. Now we're going to get another int variable chip. Just going to place it right above here. We're also going to get another event receiver chip. We're going to change the event receiver chip to AI died. So another AI died, and we're going to connect it here. And this is going to be our goblin, our total goblin death count. So however many goblins we killed. So we're just going to, let's just change this to, I don't know. Let's do goblin kill, something like that. Anyway, submit that. And now that we have that, we're going to want to connect this to here. So every time the goblin gets killed, it's going to add 1 to here. And we're actually going to want to connect these to here. This is how I'm going to explain this now. This is how we're going to get each wave to end and start the next wave. So basically, wave 1 starts. The game starts. This goes from 0 to 1. Since this equals 1, this is true and the rest are false because it's wave 1, not wave 2, 3, 4, 5. And since this is the only one that's true, every time the AI dies, it's going to go over here to this if chip. So this is going to be our goblin death count. So if this is 10, every time we kill a goblin and this activates and goes over to this if chip, whatever we connect to this, well, first I'm going to say connect this to the reset down here. Connect each of these to the reset. Okay, so if the game starts, this equals 1, this is going to be true, the only one out of these that are true. And since this is true, every time an AI dies, it's going to this if chip, but nothing's going to happen because this is false. But the way we get this up is every time we get a goblin kill. And since we have this at 10, or whatever number you want, every time we kill a goblin, nothing will happen. But once we get to 10 goblin kills, and we kill another goblin after, this is going to be true since we're at 10. And this is going to activate, which will reset this. And once it resets the goblin, we're going to wire this back into the run chip. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to reset the goblin down here. And it's going to start the next wave after 5 seconds, which it will go down. It will add another one to the one we have, and we will get 2. And this will be false, but this will be true because it's wave 2. So if we change this to, let's say, 20 goblins, if we kill 20 goblins and we get another kill, it's going to activate again and go to wave 3 and so on. So you got to make each wave in their number. So that's why I only made 5. So we're going to make this 30. We're going to make this 40. We're going to make this 50. Now I won't go through all this, but I will tell you, if I did show you all this and I got to the end where it equals 5 and we killed 50 goblins and this activates, this is going to run again, but since it doesn't equal 6, it's just going to keep spawning goblins, which we don't want. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to get the if equal and if chip over here, but we're not going to copy this equal chip. Going to copy this down, and we're going to have a greater or equal to chip. This way it will be, you see, even if it goes to 6 and there's nothing that equals 6 here, because we got this wired to the wave change, it's going to keep spawning enemies. But because we don't have no wave 6, it's going to keep spawning enemies no matter how many times you kill them. but we do want them to stop every once in a while. So we're going to connect this to here. And if it is greater or equal to 6, so everything above 6, no matter how far you go, anything above 6, this will be true. So you want to usually do this at the end. So let's say you got 20 waves, 25 waves of equal chips. You want a greater or equal to chip at the end. So it will keep going on. So you don't have to make like 50 or 100 of these. You want to connect that to the else chip too. And we're also going to connect this here, and we're going to, just for this example, we're probably going to make this 10. But you don't want to make this 10, you want to make it 60. And we're going to connect this to the reset too. So now, once I get to, well, first I will show you that each wave, it will change on here too. And I will show you at the end what I mean by it will keep going past wave 6 and it will keep going. So, first, if I kill 10 of these goblins, if I kill 10 of these goblins, it stops for 5 seconds and the wave is going to go up to 2. And now I need to kill 20 goblins to get it to wave 3. So I will see you later once I get to wave 5, or to the end of wave 5. So going to have to copy this int variable. So just go ahead and copy this up. No, I didn't mean to copy that. Go ahead and copy up where your goblins are dying. And basically, every time the wave ends and it resets, we're going to disconnect it from here. We're actually going to connect it to here. So every time this resets the zombies, it's going to go up here and also reset the goblin count. Because if it doesn't reset the goblin count, then it will go from 10. And once it hits 10, you just need to kill 10 more. And so on, another 10. Besides of going to 10 and you having to kill 20 now, you kill 10, and since it stays at 10, it just increments by 10 each wave. But now that we're resetting the goblin kill count, this is going to reset to 0, which makes it so you need to kill 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 60 every wave past 7. Now, that is the end of the tutorial, but if you want me to make another tutorial like how to make like an actual map with doors, maybe perk machines, maybe upgrades and consumables and other things, I will do that. But I will go ahead and save this room, and in the description of this video I will make it so you can go ahead and join this map and go ahead and play with some friends. And you can also see gadgets and see how to make a zombie map. I will see you back in my dorm room. So if you liked the video and you want more tutorials, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.